Today's program is brought to you by OTCStockShark.com. For the latest and greatest OTC and Pink Sheets information, sign up for your account at OTCStockShark.com. Thank you for tuning in to TBC Today. I'm Brandon Vincent.
And I'm Angelina Soriano.
In today's financial news, stocks fell broadly as a sharp decline in U.S. consumer confidence added to investors' worries about the global economy. The concerns sent investors fleeing to safety assets, sending the dollar, gold, and treasuries higher. The rise in treasuries pushed the yield on the 10-year note below 3% to its lowest level in more than a year. Bond yields move inversely to prices. The Dow Jones Industrial Average was below 10,000, down 282 points or 2.8%. Boeing dropping 6%, Alcoa slid 5.6%, and Caterpillar sank 5.1%. The S&P 500 index fell 6.5% to 1,038 as it hit a fresh 2010 intraday low of 1,037. The index was on track to finish below its lowest close of 2010 at 1,050. The Nasdaq Composite slid 3.9% to 2,135, stung by a 3.9% drop in Apple, a 3.5% slide in Microsoft, and a 5.9% decline in Amazon.com.
In U.S. news, Senate confirmation appeared assured for General David Petraeus, who became one of the U.S. military's biggest stars after helping turn around the war in Iraq. President Barack Obama fired the previous commander in Afghanistan, General Stanley McChrystal, last week after he and his aides were quoted disparaging the president and other top civilian advisors in an article in Rolling Stones magazine. The president named Petraeus to take over the war effort in Afghanistan. The war in Afghanistan, launched after the September 11, 2001 attacks on the United States, has become unpopular with the U.S. public, but Petraeus used the confirmation hearing to play down any quick turnaround hopes. He acknowledged limitations in training Afghan forces and in building up local governments in the face of what he called an industrial strength insurgency. Petraeus called the security situation tenuous and said the Taliban insurgency remained resilient and confident it could outlast the United States and its allies. In his prepared testimony, Petraeus said he would review how the war was being waged, including rules of engagement that some say put U.S. troops at unnecessary risk in an effort to protect Afghan civilians, a potentially controversial move. But Petraeus made clear it supported Obama's underlying war strategy, including the goal of beginning a transition of authority of Afghan security forces and a gradual troop drawdown in July 2011.
In today's international news, Britain's top Treasury official unveiled a sweeping emergency budget combining severe spending cuts and some tax increases in Britain's deepest fiscal situation since the early years of Margaret Thatcher's rule. Yes, it's tough, but it's also fair, the official, George Osborne, told Parliament, promising that the budgetary measure would protect the least advantaged. This is the unavoidable budget. I am not going to hide hard choices from the British people, he added. The crisis in the Eurozone shows that unless we deal with our debts, there will be no growth, forecasting that the British economy would grow over the next 5 years by a maximum annual rate of 2.9% in 2013, compared to 1.2% this year. He said the government would make spending cuts totaling £17 billion, about $25 billion, more than has been planned by the former Labour government over the next 5 years.
Ever wish you had sonic hearing? Well, now you can with the amazing Silver Sonic XL from Bell & Howell. It's lightweight and small, just like a cell phone ear adapter. The flexible ear mount easily adjusts to fit all ear shapes and sizes, and the molded ear tip lets it fit you comfortably. Best of all, it looks like a cell phone ear adapter. The Silver Sonic XL amplifies sounds up to 50 decibels, so you can easily keep track of your kids at play. And it picks up sounds from more than 30 yards away, so no one will know you have sonic hearing.
Her body is amazing. I wish I could look like that.
The Bell & Howell Silver Sonic XL is yours for only $19.95. But wait, when you call, ask about our deluxe model upgrade that's fully rechargeable and comes with its own charger. Get Silver Sonic XL now and start hearing things you've never heard before. Call now.
To order your Silver Sonic XL, call 1-800-230-7100 or send $19.95 plus shipping to the address on your screen. But for quicker service, call 1-800-230-7100.
In entertainment news, her career may have hit a rocky patch, but Megan Fox's personal life seems happier than ever. The Transformers actress married her longtime boyfriend, former Beverly Hills 90210 star Brian Austin Green, in Hawaii last week. The pair tied the knot during a small ceremony at the Four Seasons Resort on the state's Big Island. Staff at the hotel were not able to confirm the report, and Fox's publicist did not immediately return an email seeking comment. Fox, who is 24, and Green, who is 36, reportedly got engaged for a second time at the same hotel earlier this month. They met in 2004, first got engaged in 2006, but called it off in early 2009. It was the first marriage for both, although Green has an 8-year-old son with actress Vanessa Marcel. Fox is currently in theaters with the comic book adaptation Jonah Hex, which is shaping up to be one of the biggest bombs of the year. Last month, she was suddenly dropped from the cast of Transformers 3 just as production was about to begin. She last year likened franchise director Michael Bay to Hitler and Napoleon and said he was a nightmare to work for. Her high-profile headlining role in the 2009 horror comedy Jennifer's Body also fizzled. Green, meanwhile, has worked steadily in a series of low-profile film and TV projects since the popular teen soap Beverly Hills 90210 ended its decade-long run in 2000.
In today's tech news, Apple reinvented the phone as something like a computer, spawning the app. Something like software, except that it's designed more for a specific device rather than for a class of devices and can be subject to a single company's approval process. With the iPad and presumably the Android tablets that will mimic it, Apple has begun to encroach on the market for netbooks, with their flash memory and ultra-portable design using the A4 processor from Samsung rather than the Intel chips it uses in its laptops and desktops. The impact from all of this on Intel has been just short of hilarious. The company continues to push the netbook as an ongoing marketing campaign as something that runs apps. The Intel App Up Center, currently in beta and announced at CES earlier this year, encourages developers to be part of the next big thing by developing apps that run on an iPad-style walled garden of software platforms, which itself runs on top of a Windows or Linux netbook operating system powered by Intel's Atom processor. Meanwhile, Google's Chrome OS netbooks will dispense with the operating system completely when they become available in late fall in favor of apps from the Chrome Web App Store. Of course, Linux and Windows netbooks, like the ones Intel is targeting with the App Up Store, can run whatever software you want them to, just like laptops and desktops. They're rebranding as things that run apps, which is, if anything, a step backwards.
In fashion news, London Jewelry Week kicked off with the glitzy launch party in defiance of the austere mood sweeping Britain, showcasing the best of young British design talent. At a dazzling cocktail in Goldsmiths Hall, some of Britain's top jewelry designers showed off their latest creations in gold, silver, and diamonds. They said they hope London Jewelry Week, now in its 3rd edition, would become a mainstream feature on the British social calendar as London Fashion Week. As paparazzi gathered outside, top jewel designers mingled with high society glitterati, such as supermodel and TV presenter Lisa Butcher, showing off their work in display cases lining the historic hall. London Jewelry Week is a series of events taking place across the capital featuring designers' latest collections as well as educational seminars. The Hatton Garden Diamond Jewelry Quarter is throwing its own street festival. David Marshall, who built a reputation as one of Britain's premier jewelry manufacturers and designers, will use London Jewelry Week to help him develop his own brand. Based in Hatton Garden, Marshall has worked with a team of craftsmen to expand the Diamond Feather collection, which was on display in Goldsmiths Hall. The collection was inspired by the magnificent winged goddesses of ancient Greece and the graceful curves of a swan and emulates the span of a bird's wing in flight. Jewelers said they were battling the twin challenges of soaring precious metals prices and the tough economic times ahead as the new coalition government in Britain reins in public spending to control the ballooning national debt.
In today's Green News, hot on the heels of a recent MIT survey showing that natural gas use in the United States is set to double in the coming decades, an important counterpart over at Yale E360 highlights some of the problems that this transition will bring. At the center of it are the environmental consequences of fracking and the same issue which hurts oil, the difference between easily accessible reserves and those which may someday, somehow, at great cost, be recovered. Author Daniel Botkin, a professor at UC Santa Barbara, points out that the USGS lists natural gas with 4 categories of reserves. 1% are readily available with current technologies, 5% are technically recoverable, 6% are marginal targets for accelerated technology, and the remaining 84% are unknown but probable. Shale gas is in that last category. Separating the gas from the shale, a process known as hydrofracturing, involves forcing a mixture down a wellbore and into rock formations, creating small fractures that release the trapped gas. The process uses a huge amount of water. The New York State Department of Environmental Conservation estimates as much as 1 million gallons per well. At a time when water is already a limited and precious resource, Second, hydraulic fracturing fluid may come back to the surface or near enough to affect groundwater supplies. This fluid is a mixture of chemicals including friction reducers and biocides to prevent the growth of bacteria that would damage the well piping or clog the fractures, a gel to carry materials into the fractures, and various other substances. Returning to the surface, it could also bring other environmentally damaging materials such as heavy metals.
Thank you for tuning in to TBC Today. I'm Brandon Vincent.
And I'm Angelina Soriano.